This is Brad Watts. I'm the president of the Student Government Association, and I'm also the student representative to the University of Alabama Board of Trustees. And I'm very excited to be speaking to you this evening and to be discussing the upcoming stadium project with BlazerTV.com. We had three special guests. We had Dr. Carol Garrison, the president of our institution. We had Mr. Richard Margison, our vice president for financial affairs and administration. And then we had our athletics director, Mr. Brian Mackin. And what they were coming to do is to discuss the upcoming stadium project, specifically the proposal that they're going to put before the Board of Trustees at the November meeting and how they're going to finance that. Now, in terms of financing, I'll give you a few key aspects of what they said. Of course, there's a more comprehensive plan, and if you want specific details, I'd love to discuss that. But essentially, it's going to be a $75 million project, entirely self-generated. None of the money for the project is going to come out of student tuition dollars or fees. Approximately $15 million is being given from donors, from charitable organizations, philanthropic organizations that want to support our student athletes. Roughly $60 million is going to be bonded out because the bond market is at historically low interest rates. And so what's going to happen is that bond market, we're going to bond out that $60 million over a 30-year period. And from all estimates, even those that are extremely conservative and pessimistic in their estimates, the assumption is that the project will be at worst revenue neutral, at best revenue generating. And that's because, of course, you'll have a combination of factors. You'll have the press boxes, some 26 or 27, which will be rented out to corporations, individuals, and those will come at roughly the price tag of $20,000 a year. Plus, you have to buy premium season tickets on top of that. So you can see that's a huge bit of money. Naming rights for the stadium will generate revenue as well. And then the additional revenue from parking, concessions, all of that will combine in. And according to Dr. Garrison and Mr. Margison, what should happen is over the course of 30 years, we should not only have enough money to put into deferred maintenance and upkeep and pay the bonds, but also to supplement the athletics budget so that some of the student money that is actually right now going into athletics can come back to support our academic programs. And I really think that's a win-win for everybody. You can't say that that's not something beneficial, that you get a stadium essentially built at no cost to us that's going to generate us revenue so that we can put money back into our student programs. And I really laud Dr. Garrison and Mr. Margison and Mr. Mackin for their leadership and for their dynamism in making this project, like I said, revenue generating. Well, I think it's very important because it's going to signify to the Board of Trustees that all of our students on campus are behind this project. I mean, because in theory, all of these elected SGA senators represent every single undergraduate student on campus. And by passing this resolution unanimously, it's saying we, the students of UAB, feel like it is our right, our prerogative, and our privilege to have the stadium, and we support our administration in that goal. I worked very hard with senators to draft this legislation because I think it's important. And I want the trustees to see that this is something that we want. It is a student-driven initiative. It's not something being imposed from the top down. It's instead something being imposed from the bottom up. And I think signifying that student support is really going to be key to passage at the November meeting. Well, I think it's going to have a great impact. I mean, number one, if you look at the fact it's going to be on campus in Southside, where the majority of our UAB students work, learn, and live. I mean, that's huge. To be able to get out of class, say you have a Saturday class, run by your dorm, get in your game gear, and then walk to your stadium to support your team. That's huge. That's going to revitalize school spirit. That's going to help us attract top-notch students and athletes. And if anything, it's going to give us a sense of community that it's going to enhance that sense of community we already have, I should say. But the city of Birmingham stands to gain from this project as well. As I'm sure you're aware, they're already building or planning to build the Birmingham Barons Field in conjunction with the stadium project. Having that sports/entertainment district down there is not only going to bring economic vitality to the city, it's also going to give us, like I said, that sense of community, that sense of ownership. And I really think it's going to be one of the many steps in the revitalization of Birmingham. You know, you have the Railroad Park, now you have these two stadium projects, development in Southside. It's going to attract businesses and growth, and it's really going to turn this city around. You know, so like I said, it's a win-win for everybody. Nobody loses in this situation.
What does the stadium mean to the student body as a symbol?
Well, you know, from what I've heard, I try to get out and talk to my constituents at least once a day, hear what their needs are, what their concerns, what they think. And I think for most students, it's a sense of home, it's a sense of ownership. Having this stadium is going to give them a sense of ownership in the athletic programs of the university and in this entire kind of comprehensive university experience. You know, I really do think for most students, not having that facility on campus is a big sore point, because it says, we don't have something of our own, something that we can identify as our stadium, something we own, we support, we are engaged with, and this is going to change that. You know, it was a student initiative that said, we want this stadium. I mean, if you look at football in general at UAB, it started out as a student club, and it developed into a Conference USA program. I mean, so I think it's kind of a culmination of student wants, desires, visions, and dreams for UAB that we're getting this stadium. According to the preliminary plan we've been given, what will happen is students will have two choices. $25 for season tickets, and that's great seating. We've been guaranteed students and student organizations are going to be given exceptional seating because it is our stadium. So it's $25 for that season ticket package, or I believe, and don't hold me 100% to this, $10 per game, I believe is the number we were given. So number one, I would say all students get your season tickets. It's a win-win, and we're going to have a heck of a season and a great team with this new stadium. But number two, $25 is a very small price to pay relatively, for season tickets. And if you look at it, I think it's fair in a way that we're doing this because, you know, as Dr. Garrison said, you know, there are two ways of kind of generating revenue for the project through ticket sales. You impose a fee on everybody, which would mean, you know, even if you're a 42-year-old master's student who never goes to athletic events, you would pay this fee. This is a fair way because it ensures that the people that are diehard fans, the people that want to go to athletic events, are the ones paying for that service. It's more equitable, it's fair, and quite honestly, it's very, very reasonable because you're going to get the best bang for your buck with this stadium. Unreasonable? No. We talked about this within, the SGA Senate, and I think there was near unanimous consent. $25 for a season ticket is not a bad deal, not considering you're going to have this brand new, ultra-luxurious, state-of-the-art 30,000-seat stadium. It's really the best bang for your buck, and, if you think, there might be anywhere between 4 to 6 home games per season, $25, dollars for a season ticket. That breaks down to a pretty good deal. And not only that, the enjoyment you're going to get from it, the engagement you're going to get, and that sense of pride, from being there. You can't really beat that. And so I think, at least from our end, we don't think there's going to be massive student dislike of this. If anything, I think students are going to realize this is a fair deal. It's a fair buy-in. And I think you might actually see that a lot of students are going to be supportive and buy those season tickets. Well, I would tell them, look at our collective, set of actions over the last few years. SGA leaders for years have been advocating for a stadium, writing proposals, talking about the kind of intrinsic benefits that Dr. Garrison mentioned. I'm not going to sit here and say SGA built this stadium for you because obviously we don't have $75 million. But if you look at our record of advocacy, we've pushed the issue. We've made it to where it's not on the periphery. It's a center issue. It's an issue of importance. We've let administrators know this can't be something you push to the side. You need to push this to the forefront. And I think that's powerful. And it's not just with the stadium. It's if you look at the new $50 million renovation project in the Hill Center, if you look at the campus green, fall break, we've, over the years we have pushed and pushed and pushed these issues from the periphery to the kind of limelight, the center of attention. I think to a large extent, that's why you've seen movement on some things like the stadium, like the Hill Center, like the campus green, because you've had those consistent student voices. So my encouragement to all students, whether you're a freshman or whether in your 6th year, get involved in SGA, make your voices heard, because when you unite with your peers for a common goal, that's very, very powerful, and administrators will listen. There are multiple methods. Of course, we're on standard social media, Twitter, About Me, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of that. And we want you to engage with us there. But the best bet is just come by HUC 440. We usually always have an SGA officer or senator here that would love to talk to you, love to know about your story, your interests, and would love to kind of connect you and help you get involved. I have an open door policy, and I meet with students all the time. We might have an 8 o'clock meeting and you might not like that, or a 5 o'clock meeting as in this case, but I know I and my entire team, we're committed to meeting with any student regardless of standing or regardless of whether you're a freshman student or, like I said, a 6-year student, to hear your needs, hear your concerns, and get you connected.